The principles and culture of American farming have changed beyond tactics and ideas, but also in the aspect of technology. The first major technological change associated with farming was the creation and implementation of the cotton gin in 1793 to the slave-worked farms. After years of utilizing the cotton gin, the next innovative technological advance was the steam-powered tractor, which allowed for the haul of heavy items. Beyond the change in utilizing livestock to advance the productivity of these farms, the farms of today have become extremely advanced and use a diverse selection of technology. For example, there exists a sensor that can match crops with weather and soil conditions to promote efficient and effective crop production. None of this new technology is cheap, but many farms have no choice but to upgrade because their family farming is at a risk of being industrially captured.
When family owned farms are courted by large corporations, it's typically not by their own choice. The contracts are explained by the corporations as being a mutually beneficial relationship. Farmers are allowed to remain tenants on the land and are ensured they will be protected by the corporation through aid on the market, increased investment, and sustained outlet for their products. The corporation will dictate what, how much, and when the farmers will grow and will receive part of the profits. As the years go by, the farmers are continually forced to specialize their crops, invest in new machinery, and shy away from the traditional food agriculture they were used to. They find themselves increasingly in debt, trapped on a treadmill of sorts, where the only way they can pay off their loans is to make money through the contract, and the only way to stick to the contract is to continue to take out loans. According to the USDA, as of 2015, 56% of farms under some form of contract are categorized as small family farms. Perhaps the largest sector that employs contract farming is the chicken industry. According to the 2012 Census of Agriculture, 95% of chickens are raised under production contracts, and the top three companies, Tyson, Pilgrims, and Purdue, accounted for 50% of chicken production. Poultry is the greatest example of just how widespread contract farming has become, and the numbers not only in the chicken industry but on farms across America are growing as more and more small farms are recruited.
When participating in contract farming, farmers are subject to an increased risk of unsuitable technology and crop compatibility, corruption, domination by monopolies, and indebtedness. Problems arise when farmers feel as though these contract companies are not willing to share these risks with them. Adding in new crops to a certain area can cause a disruption in the established farming system or force farmers to learn and adapt to new manners of farming. Before new innovations are introduced, the effects of this machinery on agricultural environment should first be thought of. New technology can conflict with the social life of the community and can also result in the unemployment of local farmers. However, these issues are rarely taken into account, and like most other operations, those in power often exploit their position. In order to make a quick profit, companies charge numerous fees to their farmers while selling their crops at high prices. Areas where farmers are locked into a sizable investment mean they cannot easily change to producing other crops. This monoculture agriculture is harmful to the environment and requires farmers to become dependent on other food sources since they cannot provide food for themselves. The attracting factor of contract farming is the credit provided from these companies, but this can also cause major issues if there are production problems, poor technological support, and changes in the market. If credit is given out at uncontrolled levels, the indebtedness of farms can reach uneconomic levels, leaving farmers forever indebted to their companies.
According to Randy Roth, who is the executive director of philanthropy for the Otto Bremer Foundation, contract farming refers to situations in which a farmer raises or grows an agricultural product for a vertically integrated corporation. There are typically two parties that are involved in this agreement: the farmer and the company. One major flaw with this agreement is that the company usually takes advantage of the farmers. The company requires the farmers to make improvements at their own expense. Usually, if the grower refuses to make these changes, their contract will not be renewed. So ultimately, the farmers feel pressured to do what they are told. Sadly, when the contract with the company is over, the farmer usually has nowhere to go and is left with a farm near foreclosure and a great deal of debt. To begin a poultry operation, for example, a farmer is probably going to be looking at making an investment of $200,000 to $400,000 in order to buy the necessary buildings and equipment that is required by the company for them to have. The farmer usually has to finance the investment by mortgaging their farm or taking out loans.